like to call the Finance Committee meeting to order at 6:38. Roll call, Tom Barney.
Here.
And Ray Borden.
Here.
And Michael Loth is here. Item 3, agenda revisions and approval.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Okay, motion by Tom, second by Ray. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. Item 4, approval of minutes, January 25th, 2021.
Make a motion to approve January 25th, 2021 meeting minutes.
Second.
Okay, motion by Ray, second by Tom. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. Item 5, consent review and discuss February vouchers. I know there's at least one question.
Yep, I got a few questions regarding the vouchers, so I'll go through them, and if you need more detail, please let me know. The first question I have is a check for $541 for the Germantown Park and Rec Department for preschool play groups and story time stretchers program. I spoke with Todd in the Pupil Services Department. This is for our 3- and 4-year-old early childhood program. We purchase a number of seats, and then the Park and Rec Department comes into our schools to do these play groups. And Todd can explain more if you need detail, but they work with their peers. So we don't have currently a 3- or 4-year-old kindergarten program, so this is one of the activities that we do to teach our early childhood students.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. One of the other questions I had was regarding a check made to the YMCA of Greater Washington County. The YMCA had the same exact question you had. Why are we getting a check for leasing a Ford van? The reason is because she typed the wrong description into the voucher line. But it is for, actually for the YMCA, it is for our last payment for our wellness incentive that we had where we paid a percentage of the membership for the gym. So yes, it was a typo. So it did go to the right vendor for the right dollar amount. It just had the wrong description on it. The third one I had was regarding Richardson School. Richardson School is a school that we send students with higher needs to Richardson School. If we are not able to serve those students, I was just going to say outsource. That's because I'm thinking of transportation. We outsource the service to, I believe they're a private school. Or a private company. Todd is in the back and he can answer more detail about that. There are 2 students that are serviced at this school.
Mike?
Yes, Ray?
So $15,000 in January and $13,000 in December for a total of $28,000. Is that for both students or for just one?
The one in front of you is for 13, so I'm assuming the one that you had in the previous month was for both students. So
Okay.
This one says 8,000 for one student, 5,000 for the next, so it's 2 students, about 13,000 this month.
Okay, so I did some research on the Richardson School, and we've always prided ourselves here in this district with the best special ed teachers, and I'm just wondering, why aren't we able to service these 2 students through our school district? Because $15,000 or $13,000 goes a long way for special ed services. So I'm just curious. And I don't want to get into great detail at this point, but I am going to bring that up as a question that we should be talking in closed session about some other things with special ed.
Okay. And I can have Todd email you if you have any detailed questions about it. I'll
go through Brett first.
Okay, well.
Good, thank you.
Right. And then the next question There were some vouchers for $50 and $65 checks for JV and varsity games. Those are for our officials that are at each one of the games. $50 for JV and $65 for varsity games. Another question is almost $20,000 in physical therapy. Again, this is along the same type of lines. Are these services that we can do in-house instead of paying? We looked into this a little more. This is for multiple physical therapists, so 6 or 7 of them, so I'm assuming they do a wide variety of services and students. It does vary. Sometimes they're higher, sometimes they're lower. If you would have an employee, it would be a constant. So we can get into that again when you have the conversation with.
Right, my question
people.
pertaining to that is not just only physical therapists, but it's also the OT services. And how many FTEs are we actually being billed for, and are they truly needed? So.
The next one is a voucher to the village and the Village of Germantown and Washington County for police coverage for youth sports. We do pay those up front, and then we bill the vendor that is renting the facilities. So you'll see an expense, but there is a revenue on the opposite side of that. And then finally, Wisconsin Virtual Learning. There was a voucher for virtual classes. Per state law, students, if they're our resident, and it can go the opposite way, but if they're our resident and they go to our school, they can open and roll out to up to 2 classes to another school, may it be virtual or in person, and then that other school would then charge us what their rate is. We do the same. If there's a student that lives somewhere else that wants to take a class here, we would then charge the other school, and it's up to 2 classes per semester. Those are the questions I had for vouchers.
Okay, sounds good. I will take a motion.
I'll make a motion to consent to payment of vouchers as presented and reviewed.
And I will second.
Okay, motion by Tom, second by Ray. Any discussion? Yes, Bob?
Yeah, Brittany, for later on in the meeting, you're going to talk about the monthly variance report, and you have some language referencing right way. Invoices were paid in January and are reflected in this report. And I believe the invoices were specific to transportation invoices for August 2020 to November 2021. What's that for? Or is that reflected in the vouchers that we're just approving now? Mm-hmm. Okay, what is it for?
Sure, so it's for our regular transportation, but I was going back and forth with Right Way with some discrepancies I saw in the invoices, and so I expressed my concern with the discrepancies. They looked into it, they came back with their response. I then returned my concerns, and then the concerns I have were taken off the invoices before we paid them.
Great, thank you. And last final comment, just an FYI, I see only $551 to Nye's Building Supply of an Omni Falls retailer. We do have a local retailer here, Ace Hardware, in town. So we may want to think about giving district money to businesses that are located in the district. So, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. Okay, next item, new business. Item 6A, I don't believe there are any purchases over $15,000.
No.
I didn't see anything. And then the item 6B, 2020-2021 facility rental fee schedule.
Sure. Earlier this month, we went through a few policies at the policy committee. One of those policies was 7510.01, which is the community use of facilities. We made some adjustments to that policy, which comes to full board for tonight for approval. Within that policy was language as well as a partial fee schedule. Some of it was written out in paragraph form, and some of it was laid out in a fee schedule type of format. Policies aren't reviewed on an annual basis, so part of the revamping of that policy was to remove the fees and the fee schedule from the policy and put it more into a schedule that will come to the board annually to review and adjust, so it doesn't have to go through policy committee. So the fee schedule you have in front of you today has not changed any of the dollar amounts. They are the same as they were in the policy. It's just breaking that out into a separate format. It will come to the board in May as the student fees come to the board for changes and approval for the following school year. Part of this needs to be approved before the policy can be approved by the board. But none of the dollar amounts have changed.
Right, I think it's a good idea. I think in the past, if we were going to change the rates, it would end up involving Neola, I believe, because it was part of our policy. Is that a true statement?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, so I think this simplifies things for you in particular and for us, that we don't necessarily have to go to policy for that. I will take a motion if we're ready.
I'll make a motion to bring forward to the Board of Education with a positive recommendation to approve the 2020-2021 facility use fee schedule.
Second.
Okay, motion by Ray, second by Tom. Looking at the facility use fees, I think they all look very reasonable as is for the groups listed. You know, none of the rates are particularly high in my opinion, so this was nice, a nice format. Kind of put all the fees and rates in, you know, on 1 or 2 pages, and just looking through it, it wasn't, you know, it was nice to see everything in one spot like this, so thank you for that, Brittany.
And then once it goes to the board tonight and the policy goes to the board, both will be posted on the website in the facility use area for easy use of the facility renters.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. Okay, I don't believe we have any item 7 unfinished business, or was there? Nope.
No.
Brett's telling me no. Okay, item 8A, January variance report.
This is the report that I bring to the Finance Committee on a monthly basis, comparing where we are at this time last year in the revenues and expenditures for the general fund and the special ed fund, which is our 2 largest funds in our school district. One thing to note, we did pay off our line of credit that the board approved at the beginning of the year with our first tax payment. We got our first tax payment in January, so that was paid off the day after we received our tax payment. We did pay $26,506 in interest to have those funds available for us, so increasing our fund balance in the future will decrease the need to borrow, which will help. So I just wanted to make sure the board knew that that was paid off. Going into, I'm not going to go into much detail with this. If you look at the expenditures for this year compared to last year, you'll see it about $21 million spent this year compared to the 19.3 last year. If you take out the transfer of to Fund 38, the debt payments of the 1.8, we are spending about $19 million compared to the 19.3. So we're about $350,000 less in expenses for the general fund compared to this time last year. And then if you go down to the special ed fund, we are about $100,000 spent this year than compared to last year, which is kind of in the middle of your page. And then if you go down to the revenue side, you'll see that we did receive, as I stated, our property taxes in January. You'll see compared to last year, we received $17 million compared to our $20 million. That doesn't mean we're getting less in taxes. It's just people are paying their taxes different this year than they paid in the previous year. Some people might be stretching it out over the year instead of paying it all up in the lump sum. So the municipalities are giving us the portion of what they have. It's not, so we're going to expect later payments later in the year. But they have to give us a percentage of what they receive, not a dollar amount of what they receive. So don't think that we're receiving less than we have budgeted for. It's just a timing thing. And then the special ed fund revenue down at the bottom is pretty consistent. We got about $200,000 more this year than last year, and that is just us claiming in our grants at a different time of the year than we did last year. Any questions on the January report?
Bob?
Brittany, again, great job on putting this report together. Question referencing tax revenue. Any indication from our village partners in terms of how many taxpayers are not going to pay? Any
No.
indication?
Nope, I can ask. I don't know if they,
And if so, what percent, what impact would that have on us, on our cash flow?
okay.
Great, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
I don't think we have any. I think that's it. I will accept a
Motion to adjourn?
motion.
Second.
Okay. Motion to adjourn by Ray, second by Tom. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. That motion carries. We are adjourned at 6:54.